happy 2019. I hope that you guys had a wonderful holiday season. And I just wanted to come by today to just say Happy New Year and to just share with you my very first video of 2019, kind of just what some of my goals are, what I have been kind of working towards, and in hopes that maybe today this inspires you just as you're walking through your journey. I don't know about you guys, but I always do a word for the year. And as I was ending 2018, I just kept coming to the word strength. And you know, you kind of think of strength more in your physical strength, but for me, I really felt like God was encouraging me strength in my mind and my spirit. And I wanted to just share with you today kind of what I've been working through and how I'm going to focus on that word this year and actually work to getting both my mind and my spirit healthy and strong, so that I can live my best life this year for myself and for the Lord and for my family and friends and all of just the people and community in my life. At the end of last year, I just remember my mom being like, well, what do the kids want for Christmas? And I was like, Mom, I have to literally set aside time in my day to think about what the kids want for Christmas. That was just how nuts, how crazy my mind and my space was. That was a little bit of a wake-up call. Like, I have no space in my day at all to think about what my kids would like for Christmas. I was like, that's interesting. There's no margin. So that was my first kind of just interesting thought. And then I kept listening to different podcasts, and people were talking about the power of the mind and how important it is to do like a brain dump every single day to just kind of get everything that's up here onto paper so that you can be productive, so that you can use your brain. And I found myself being like, well, I fill up my time and my brain. I'm such like an efficient multitasker type person that I was going, and that I wasn't allowing my brain just space to think, space to hear from the Lord, or space to be creative. And that was a big wake-up call. And then also strength of spirit. So my spirit just felt very crushed last year. I went through some things personally. A lot of it had to do with my stamina towards social media. My spirit was really crushed last year. I was very in touch with certain comments that I would receive, certain people that would unfollow me. I kind of really beat myself up and gave myself a lot of mental capacity and just sadness about like, why would this person who I know unfollow me? And it just made me really sad, and it really crushed my spirit. And I just felt like my spirit towards the end of last year was very weak. I had a lot of fear. I had a lot of anxiety. I had just a lot of self-doubt. And I just feel like that is not of the Lord. Like, God says, 2 Timothy 1:7, it says, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but gives us power, love, and a sound mind. Sound mind. And I just feel like I need that right now. And so I'm like, okay, Lord, what is going to be my word for the year? And he's like, strength. Your word is strength. You're going to be focused on building your brain and your spirit. And those two are so deeply connected to each other so that you can go out and live in strength. You can go out and live in my power. And you're not living out of this kind of person who's just trying to grasp all things that are fleeting. Like our day-to-day happenings, emotions, circumstances, those are just, they come and they go, right? Like we all can have a good day based on our circumstances, or we can choose to have a good day because we're rooted and grounded in Christ. And so that's kind of where I want to live every single day this year going forward, in that type of strength and power. And that only comes from being just connected to the Lord. Moving into 2019, I want to move into it with more strength. I wanted to move into it with just less fear, less worry or care about what other people think. That I have been so decompressed and kind of shrunken back in how God wants to use me. And you can see this here in my YouTube channel. Like my YouTube channel towards the last part of the year was just strictly flowers and design and food and tablescape, which I think all of those things are great, but I just decided maybe nobody wants to hear from me and wants to hear what's going on in my brain, and maybe I should just not share what the Lord's teaching me. And I don't think that that's true. So here I am sharing. How do we create space in our mind and our spirit? And I just kind of came up with some ideas that I'm practically putting into practice in my life currently. I think less noise. I woke up one morning about a week ago. If I spend 2 hours a day on social media, which it can sometimes get up there. I think the average person spends 1 hour a day on social media. You guys, that is 30.4 entire days, an entire month out of the entire year that I would have spent on Instagram alone, or your Facebook, or whatever your drug of choice is on this thing. An entire year, if you spend 2 hours a day mindlessly scrolling social media, maybe it's 20 minutes here, 10 minutes there, an hour here, 30 minutes there you go, there you have it. And while I love social media, I did a post on this the other day on Instagram. While I love social media and while I feel like it is good and while YouTube is good, we need to be mindful of how we spend our time. Think about how much could be done in 30 days of the entire year, an entire month, if it wasn't spent fully on social media. So my goal is about 45 minutes a day, which to some may seem excessive, but to me personally, I'm just being fully transparent here, that's a good goal for me. So on Instagram, you can set a timer and whatever you want, whether you want to spend 20 minutes or an hour and a half a day, you can set it and it will alert you, hey, just a heads up, you've hit 45 minutes today. And that kind of gives me like, okay, my time here is done and I need to go read. I need to exercise my brain. I need to go take a nap. I need to go for a walk. I need to do the dishes or the laundry or just do something else besides being mindless. Now, while I'm not saying get rid of it completely, I think just being aware is the first step. I think it was the life school coach. She says that you need to do a brain dump. So that means every single day for me, it's going to be in the mornings after I have my quiet time with God, before my kids get up. I bring out my planner and I literally dump everything that's going on in my brain, whether that's a YouTube idea, what I'm making for dinner, the list of things I want to accomplish for the day, just anything I write down in my planner, in my journal, take some notes on my phone, get everything in my brain out onto paper so that it's not taking up extra mental space, so that I'm like, okay, I know where my to-do list is, I know what needs to be accomplished, and my brain doesn't just kind of feel like it's living in this haze and this fog of what's next. This was what one of my goals last year was to practice Sabbath. Last year, that was so good. On Sundays, I just tried not to do any chores, any work, and rest. And that is such a good way to kind of take back that mind and soul experience and just say, you know what, we need more rest in our life. And so if that's gonna look like even just one day a week, just dedicated towards rest and family time or you time, you need to do that. And so I'm trying to now work that into every little part of my day and not just have it be one day a week, but that is another idea if you're looking for something to do. Some other ideas are less podcasts. I am obsessed with podcasts and I tend to fill my time while I'm doing dishes, while I'm driving, while I'm working out, while I'm folding laundry with a podcast because I love it so much. But the podcast, while it is good, it does create more noise, and that noise clutters up the space in our brain and gives us less time to think, less time to process, less time to be creative, which we as human beings need to kind of excel in life. If I'm just getting bombarded with information, but I'm not allowing my time to process or think about things or hear from the Lord, then I'm just gonna run a crash and burn like I did at the end of 2018 because I wasn't allowing myself just quiet. Just less noise. Decluttering. While this may seem like, okay, how is this helping? It is a proven fact that clutter around your house in women legitimately causes physical stress. So over Christmas, and I don't know if you guys have been watching that Marie Kondo show on Netflix, The Art of Tidying Up. That was super inspiring, but even before, so after Christmas, I just get this natural need to kind of purge and clean, and I have been doing that and I have been loving it. The less stuff and the less clutter that we own, that we acquire, is less time spent looking at it, picking it up, cleaning it. And while I do have young kids and there are a lot of things, we don't need so many things. So I've decluttered toys and I've organized closets and I've organized the laundry room and the linen closets, and I've gotten rid of things that we just don't use. And it does give you that like lighter, fresher feel, doesn't it? Of just like, okay, I have less stuff. And I always felt this burden personally to hang things on my walls and to have a lot of stuff because I have a lot of white space here. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want that stuff on my wall because it just adds more, and I like to have a sense of peace and relaxation in my home. And if that means blank walls, then that means blank walls. I'm not going to feel that pressure to fill them just because maybe people or designers say fill your walls. So I'm kind of trying to be in tune with that part of myself and how that overflows into the house. Last thing I thought of was meal planning. I think that every day it's like, okay, what are we gonna have for dinner? And it just kind of creates this little bit of alarm late afternoon. You guys know that feeling of like, oh shoot, I haven't had time, what's for dinner? Just a little bit of extra work. On Sunday, sit down and go grocery shopping and just write out. Like for me, I try to do meals Monday through Thursday. Friday is either leftovers or we order pizza, and just say, okay, what meals am I gonna cook this week? Make sure I have the ingredients. And that way when 4:30 comes, I'm not scrambling. I have a plan, and that it eases that little voice in my head that's always like alarming at 4 o'clock, that it's like, no, I'm in control. I know what's going on. You don't need to like stress me out right now. And I just feel a little bit more at peace. So, oh, and one last thing is, you know, when you think of strength, you think of body, mind, and spirit. And I think that if my strength and my mind and my spirit are connected and are moving strong, my body is just gonna follow, right? It's gonna just kind of come into motion and get aligned with those two things. So I am doing my second Whole30. I will maybe do a recap once it's done. I'm on day 5 or 6 now. I don't know. It just feels good, feels right. But my main focus is not like body. My main focus are the things that are gonna really excel me into this year and just make me feel in control and alive. So if you have a word for the year, if you have a goal, I would love to hear it. I love these things. Leave a comment below. And in the meantime, have a great day and go in peace. All right, bye guys.